A very good evening, dear participants. Hope you're all doing very good, wonderful, growing day by day and learning a lot. Welcome to our 24th session of SNTTC. And today's topic is using NLP in classroom. And I know that this topic has triggered many people and everyone is joining. And just I don't want to waste much more time of you all because you're all educators. You have got a lot to do. Firstly, I would like to welcome our resource person of the day, resource person of SNTTC and a core member of SNTTC, Mrs. Meenu Kaur Chawla. Ma'am is a coordinator, an academic coordinator, senior most academic coordinator for a school based in Jhansi. She's also an NLP practitioner. She's also a counselor. So today, ma'am has come up with this NLP in classroom, how to use NLP in classroom. Remember one thing, you should be a certified NLP practitioner to do this. But how can teachers integrate certain concepts of NLP in the classroom with your students to make learning a happy thing is what we are going to discuss today. But NLP is exclusively a subject. That is the beauty of teaching. Being a teacher, if you do different certificate courses from different things, you can integrate all those things into your classroom. So teacher is always an all-rounder. So the stage is all yours, Meenu ma'am. And before that, I would like to welcome one of our core member, Mrs. Prasita Sajan. Ma'am is a principal of a school based in Bangalore. Yes.
So, good evening, everyone. Prasita ma'am, you please continue and then I'll start.
Nothing to continue, ma'am. Thank you so much. I really wanted to listen to your session. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Prasita ma'am. Thank you. First of all, extending a very, very cordial good evening to each and everyone present here, and a special thanks to my mentor, Ravi sir, who has trained us people so well, so that here we are with our learnings in front of all of you. And today's topic, it's a very, very interesting topic if you look into it, because I mean, as the word says, let's talk about the word NLP. The full form is like neuro-linguistic programming. Now, according to the behavioral science, there should be a coordination between what we are thinking, how are we behaving, and how are we executing it. So NLP is the perfect thing which describes how to identify the disbalance or mismatch between the three. And if there is a mismatch, how can we bring all those three things into alignment so that we portray the perfect picture of a perfect mental health? This is all. And though, as Ravi sir has already told you, because I'm a certified NLP practitioner, so I have that right to use every therapy which I have learned into the course. But here I have shortlisted few things which are going to be a great help for all the teachers in your classrooms. Why? Because it will help you in understanding your children better. It will help you in, using those strategies which will help you in managing your classroom perfectly. So here is a small gist, or you can call it as a small conclusion of what NLP is all about. And I, as like Ravi sir already introduced, I'm Mrs. Meenu Kaur Chawla. I'm working as a senior coordinator and as an academic coordinator at Allen House Public School. I'm a certified counselor. I'm a certified NLP practitioner. I'm an author, and I have been for 20 years into this education field. So I mean, I extend a very, very warm welcome, a very great evening to each and everyone present here. Now, as we see the first slide, thoughts is synonym to behavior, and behavior is synonym to thoughts. This is the core element, or this is the core factor which we are going to investigate in the upcoming slides. Before I start with the session, I would request each and everyone to make this session interactive And if you have any questions, you can raise your hand. Definitely, I'll answer your questions. And like if I'm in continuation with the topic, I request all the participants to let the topic be finished, and then your questions can be answered. But I would be very happy, I would be very enthusiastic if I get very, very enthusiastic participants. So with this hope of getting enthusiastic participants, we move ahead. Can we have a look at the next slide, please, sir? Yes. If you closely take a look at the picture, and if I request, if someone of you wants to make the notes, you all can go with that. Now, the inner circle is have, the second circle is do, and the third circle says be. This is how we work. Let us understand each thing very clearly. What I mean, most of us, and including our children, if you tell them, okay, you need to get good marks in maths, or you need to get good marks in English, then they have, if I have a better coaching, then I will do better in my exams, and then I will become the topper of the class, right? This is what the normal behavior pattern is seen, is visible, not only in children, but in the adults also. Let's see what NLP does so that we can have a reversal of this, because any which ways, this is a wrong pattern. First, you have something, then you will do work on it, and then you will become that, is a wrong circle according to NLP. Let's see how NLP helps us at the first place in reversing this. Can we have the look at the second slide, please, sir? Now, as we discussed about the first slide, I'll just brief you up with agenda of today's this training. How is NLP going to help you in your classroom management? At the first place, the very first slide, as we discussed, it will help us in changing the notion of the children of be, do, and have. At the second place, it helps us in identifying the points of misalignment between our thoughts and our behavior. When I say our, it's a classroom thing. Always remember, wherever I'm using the word our, I'm referring to the behavior of the students as well as the teachers. Sometimes as teachers, when we go into the class, we may be knowing excellent things, but somehow we are not able to deliver that excellence to the students. There are so many underlying factors, right? So this NLP, that is neuro-linguistic programming, and its approaches help us to identify where are we misaligned, thus helps us in bringing our thoughts and behavior into alignment. And if we are in alignment, definitely we are going to pass on that alignment to our I'm not able to hear you, ma'am. Is it like, is anyone else also facing this audio problem, or am I clearly audible?
Ma'am, you're clearly audible.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. Sir or ma'am, I think there is some error at your, thank you, because most of the people are able to hear me, right? Then it helps us to bring in the alignment. Then it helps us to identify the PIP of students. Now, what is PIP? We'll discuss in the upcoming slides, right? It also helps us. The most important thing, which I feel the children are stuck at, they are stuck into the zone of being a dreamer only and a critic. They dream something, the critic comes in, and then they are not able to come to a realistic person who can actually do things to fulfill all their dreams. Thank you so much. And it makes us aware of the frames. One of the most important things through which we look at the world. And when I say we look at the world, remember, dear teachers, I'm talking about the frames with which the students also look at the world. So by today's session, we'll try to, incorporate the strategies which I use with my children and which have really been helpful to me. And they, it actually results in a better classroom management. I hope till here we are very clear. The agenda is set. Good evening, everyone. Yes. Now, if you have a look at the second picture, the core is now be. The second is do, and the third becomes have. With NLP, with the therapies of NLP, we try to tell the children that you start believing at the core that, yes, I can become a topper. Once you change this, what NLP does is NLP tries to change in the belief system of a child who is right now living into, because every now and then there are so many negative automated thoughts which are input into the child. You're good for nothing. Most of the time we use this, like you're good for nothing, or even the child has this internal dialogues. I cannot do maths. I'm scared of physics. English is not my cup of tea. How can I become a topper? These all are his self-automated or self-generated negative thoughts. So what does NLP do? At the first place, NLP changes the core belief. That is, it tells the child to assume as if he has already become the topper of the class. And then once when you assume that, yes, I'm already the topper of the class, the child starts automatically doing all the things which will take him closer to his goal, and then he can actually have this position of becoming a topper. So the very first thing on which NLP or neuro linguistic programming works is it works at the core. It works in making the child believe and an individual believe that, yes, I have already become a topper. Now when I have already become a topper, how can I refrain myself from doing all the things which are making me actually achieve that? So this is the first work of NLP, and how we do that, we'll be unfolding this in the upcoming slides. Can we have the look at the second slide, please? Thank you, sir. Now, remember this, the second agenda which I discussed was, it helps us in finding the NLP helps us in finding the misalignment. This is a very important topic. If you all want, you all can draw this picture or you can take this screenshot. Let us understand each and every, this box very, very clearly. The very first thing which plays a very important role in the early childhood is his environment, the environment of the child. Remember, dear teachers, when I'm saying environment, I'm not only talking about the environment in the classroom, but also environment which the child is receiving at his home. That is also an important thing. Sometimes everything may be good. The child may be intelligent. The child may be a fast learner. The child may be able to understand. The child may have every ability, but because of the environment in which the child is living, probably he or she lacks in learning. He or she is lacking in focusing on a particular topic. Now, if there is some disturbance in environment, it will automatically reflect in the behavior. Why? Because environment and behavior are two interdependent things. We cannot separate these two entities. Like, see, if I'm sitting in a room which is already hot, there is no fan there, I'm sitting in this environment, definitely my behavior is going to be aggressive. I will not be happy. I will be, cribbing all around. I'm feeling hot. I want this. And unnecessary, I'll be, panicked. Unnecessary, I'll be creating some kind of tension around me, not only for me, but for the other people as well. Then skill. If these two things are affected, will I be able to develop any skill in me? Right now, we all are in this webinar, sitting and listening attentively. But one or the other factor, like if the environment around me is disturbed, there will be a visible change in my behavior, which will start reflecting in my speaking skill. No matter how well I may be prepared, but I will not be able to deliver my best. And when I'm not able to deliver my best, I will generate this belief in me, I am not good enough. Things are there which disturb me. I may fail, like 10 times if I'm trying, I fail 9 times in my efforts. That means I'm a failure. And from here, we generate values. Now, if there is a negative belief, definitely there will be. Yes, Divya ma'am, you want to ask something? Okay. then definitely my value system will be disturbed. Why? Because with a negative belief, with a negative value will be created, right? And with this negative value, a negative identity will be associated with me. And that negative identity is I am a failure. I cannot do things properly. I hesitate when I speak. I lose my efforts 90 times a day, 90 times in my work schedule. We often hear the children, no, I have a very bad luck. Now, have we ever thought, how does this notion comes into a child's mind? How can you call your luck a bad luck just because you tried 10 times and unfortunately you failed 8 attempts, but those 2 successful attempts we don't take into consideration? Why? Because by this time, this alignment, which should be in positive, it should be into positive attachment which with each other, has already gone negative. And if I am not able to define my identity, I will never be able to define the purpose of my life, right? Now, having understood all these elements and their connection with each other, can anyone over here tell me how is this, how can you put this example in your classroom? Any one of you. I would love to hear from you. Let's take environment, a disturbed environment at home, and Jack comes to your class without doing his homework, right? So how will it affect rest of the things? If there is anyone who would like to, talk about it.
Ma'am, I would like to speak about it.
Sure, ma'am.
Good evening. My name is Marina Delaimo. And like you just gave an example that Jack is a boy in my class. He has a disturbed environment, and the parents at home keep fighting and abusing each other. So
Wonderful.
the behavior of the student, let's go to the second level. The behavior of the student will start changing. He also, as we know, that children behave or their behavior is molded according to what they see. So if he sees his parents fighting, he himself will turn aggressive. If he hears them abusing, he himself will become abusive. So now it affects his skill. His speaking skill will be in such a way that whenever he speaks, he'll use abusive language, and then he'll speak to the other students. He'll hit the other students, hate the other students, and then ultimately everybody starts becoming starts becoming aloof, because all the children start going far away from him because of his behavior. So he starts believing in himself that he is of no good, and he is worthless, and nobody wants to be his friend. So then let's go to the next level, value. He generates certain negative values like jealousy. When he sees that the other children have a good environment, their parents are loving them, or they have jealousy. So this is a negative value that develops in the child. Then we come to the level known as identity. There he says that I'm not able to do anything. I'm not even able to make social contacts. I can't even do the bare minimum, that is socializing with people. So that is why his purpose is all thwarted. The purpose that is there, that he has to be a good student, he has to study well, all that is thwarted.
Wonderful, ma'am. I must really appreciate the way you have put up the things. See, now this example with which ma'am has actually made the things again clearer to all of us, we as teachers have to probe into we as a teachers, we look only at the behavior, what is reflected at the surface level. But now, because when we know there is certain misalignment in all the elements mentioned over here, that is misalignment at the neuro-linguistic level, we can easily probe into the problem. And once we can, if probe into the problem, we can tailor or customize a solution for our children. So this is one of the most important elements, or this is one of the most important things which neuro-linguistic programming does for us. Again, dear teachers, I'll tell you, Neuro-linguistic or NLP is a very, very vast subject which cannot be covered in just 1 or 2 sessions. It needs really many, many sessions. Today, I have just picked up with some basic things, and in the upcoming sessions, we'll be unfolding many other elements of the NLP as well. So can we move on to the next slide, please? Yes. Now, third thing I talked about is NLP helps us in finding out the PIPs. Now, what is PIP? PIP is pre-installed psychological needs, right? What are these needs? These are certain psychological needs which are inbuilt in us. Thank you everyone. Which is inbuilt in us, right? Like we have a fixed template inside us. This is a template which no matter how hard we try, we cannot change it. And why are this PIPs important to be identified? Because once you identified the PIP, it will help you in making your child gain his or her fulfillment. That is what recognizing a PIP helps a teacher in the classroom as. We'll be discussing each PIP one by one. Let's talk about the first PIP, certainty. There, I'm giving you an example, okay? And I would want you to hear this and answer me. Radhika is a student of class 6. She has a fixed pattern of doing things. She gets up every day at a fixed time. She comes to her class at a fixed time. She completes all her work on her time. She goes back. She sits down for her self-study at a fixed point of time. She eats at a fixed time. She sleeps, and then she repeats this pattern. Can anyone tell me what is Radhika trying to portray by this? Anyone of you?
Ma'am, she wants to be that I'm time bound. I would like to plan my things, everything. So my schedule is being timetabled in such a way that I'm not wasting time. Everything is being pre-planned according to I'm going in a proper manner.
Okay, someone in chat box is writing perfect planning, being perfect or being punctual, best in every manner. Yes, wonderful. So now,
Ma'am, I have a question here. May I?
Yes, sure, ma'am.
Thank you. I'm Meenu Prabhakaran. Could it
Sure.
also be a subtle level of anxiety or compulsion to achieve a particular standard that she cannot come down?
See, ma'am, a pre-installed psychological need becomes a problem when it becomes into obsessive compulsion disorder, right? That is a absolute different thing. You are right to an extent, but right now, you know, what is she trying to do? This example gives us a clear picture of people around us who want certainty in everything they do. They basically have a box life, getting up in a box room, getting into a box wala car, getting to their workplace or getting to their class, studying, and then returning to that box of discipline, studying at a fixed place at a fixed time, and then rotating this or repeating this behavior each and every day. This is what certainty driven or the pre-installed psychological needs certainty does. It actually, they are the people who become really restless when their routine is broken. When they find a little uncertainty, they will become restless. We must have seen many children in our classroom. If by chance they fail to do homework, they are the most scared in the classroom the very next day. They will put up all the excuses even before you ask them. Sorry, ma'am, I couldn't do my homework. There was a power cut in my house and I promise I won't be doing this. So this is what, and there is no harm in it. But the only thing is, this kind of children will never be able to take risk in their life. Why? Because, and it's not a fault, it's a default system which we cannot take out of the child. But yes, we can help in making the child understand that you are capable enough to take risks in your life, right? Meenu Prabhakar, ma'am, I hope I have made your point clear.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Talking about the second point, uncertainty. Again, I'm giving a second example, and I would want someone to answer. Rohan is a boy who, no matter what you do, but he's always into risk taking. He loves bunking the classes. He knows the repercussions. Still, he does that. What is he actually trying to portray?
He's trying to portray that he's daring.
Wonderful. Then,
And that
He could be an attention-seeking child.
yes, attention seeking.
He could
Okay.
be.
Okay, good decision maker. Okay, someone writes, Kalpana ma'am writes, good decision maker. Yes, ma'am. Someone is answering, I guess. Okay, trying to prove. See, when we talk about children, clever in his attitude, wonderful. I'm getting over here. See, when we are talking about an element called uncertainty, this pre-installed psychological need, Kalpana ma'am, I would request you to please mute yourself. Kalpana ma'am, can you please mute yourself, please? Right? So what does this do is, these all are the people these all are the students who love taking risks. They cannot live in that box wala life. They have to take every single challenge. They want to take, they are experimenting people. They would never ever want to live that, we call it as conventional learning strategies or conventional method of discipline. No, you cannot. Shows leadership qualities. Okay. So these are, this uncertainty, the qualities which or the points which we discussed right now, which all the points when put together show the child is uncertain in his nature, means the child has the capability to take risk. Yes, there are some of the factors which may be irritating for a teacher, like it is, yes, explorer, wonderful. It's like they are wonderful explorer, they are risk taking. So if they're risk taking and they're explorers, then that means their learning way cannot be same as of the earlier discussed girl, Radhika, or whatever the name was, right? So here we have to understand, if I am finding a child who has uncertainty as a pre-installed psychological need, I have to go into the classroom with varied methods of conveying my content, right? Now, coming to the third kind of a child, significance. There may be a child in your class who would want to become monitor. He or she would come to you every now and then. Ma'am, may I go there? Ma'am, may I help you? Ma'am, may I write on the board? Ma'am, may I take the notebooks for you? Ma'am, I'll be managing the class, and so many things the child comes up with, right? Yes, ma'am. So why? Because these are the children who have significance as their pre-installed psychological need. Their fulfillment is achieved only and only when they are, when they are given that significance, when they are given that importance, when they are shown that, yes, I trust in you, and you are getting all the limelight. Such are some children in our class, right? Then there may be some children in your class who would be friends to everyone. They would always be open to help each and every child if someone, yes, ma'am, leadership values. Not, but Punita Kaur, ma'am, here it is less of leadership. To an extent, they show leadership qualities, but here it's their self-significance which matters them the most, right? And a leader is not bothered about getting self-significance. A leader always is into, let me help someone else. Let some other person get, yes, attention seeker. Wonderful word used. I should say the perfect word has been used over here, right? So we were talking about love and connection. These are the children whose PIP is to build connection. They'll make friends. They'll do every bit of a thing to make people happy. And most of the time, these children, if they are not harnessed properly, or if they're not channelized properly, they end up, or they'll end up becoming people pleaser, right? That is why in the classroom, if you see a child who's too much into into this worry. Why is my friend angry with me? Why is she not talking to me? I should do every possible thing to make my friend happy around me. Please check that behavior. If it is shown in a controlled manner, it's wonderful. But if that's the only thing which is worrying that child, then it becomes really troublesome, because remember, the child may land up in becoming a people pleaser, which we do not want, right? This last one to be talked about is contribution. Then there are few children in our class who exhibit the properties of, yes, ma'am, it is very much among girls. Wonderful. Yes. So contribution is like, how do children exhibit that? They start showing the the behavioral aspect of the social workers. They will leave their work behind, and then they will be always in front to help other people. Why are you late to school, ma'am? I saw a puppy which was very small and was not able to cross the road, and there were vehicles running, so I thought, let me put my bag aside, let me pick that puppy aside and keep it aside, and then only I came to school. We come across many such children, right? These are the children whose pre-installed psychological need is contribution, and they feel fulfilled only and only when we make them when we make them do certain things which fulfills their PIP. So now, why did I make a mention of all these PIPs? Because these PIPs, if you recognize in your children, you will be able to assign the task in your classroom accordingly. Not only the task, but remember, the children work on the principle of pleasure. They want rewards. They want appreciation. If a child, just understand this, if you want to praise a girl whose PIP is love and connection, and you have made that girl the monitor of the class, what wrong have you done in this? Can anyone tell me? A girl whose PIP is love and connection, but she has been made the monitor of the class. But what have I done wrong in this?
Ma'am, she won't be able to please everyone in the class.
Wonderful. She won't be able to please because you have put up her at the leadership role, which is not her forte. She has to make a distance from all the friends. She has to set a pattern that this is a certain pattern of behavior which we have to do, and this is certain. Yes, she will be with few. Wonderful. And those few also, she has to exhibit a limited pattern of behavior. She cannot be jovial. She cannot be, showing love and affection all around. That is why it is very important for us as teachers to understand the PIPs of a child, so that while designating the workload to them, while appreciating them, while allotting them the duties, while making their this anecdotal records and all, if we are well aware of the pre-installed psychological needs, things will go in a very coordinated manner. So this is one of the most important. She has to be responsible and answerable. So that is why she cannot be sweet to everyone. If she is sweet to everyone, she is not doing her duty properly. That is what the biggest problem is, right? Sir, can we move to the next slide, please? Wonderful. Now, the most important thing, and after I'll explain this, I have come up with a small activity, but for practicing that activity, I would want each one of you to turn on your cameras, but that activity will be done in the second half. Let me just explain this. What is this all about? We all have three people residing in us. Who are those three people? A dreamer, which says, yes, dream big, you can achieve everything. And there may be children in your classroom who come up very enthusiastically in the, ma'am, you know what, today I've set a timetable for me because my exams are approaching, and no matter what, this time I'm going to beat the class topper. There he dreams big early in the morning and coming with all the enthusiasm and all, right? And then slowly by the end of the day, you see that child alienating from the studies. Probably you may find him moving around the water tap area very frequently. And when you ask him, so he'll come, no, ma'am, actually, I was trying my level best. But then, I realized no matter how hard I try, I will not be able to beat the topper of my class. Right? There are many children around us who are into this. They jump from a dreamer. They try to, I mean, they are never able to become that doer because they are caught in this vicious circle of dreamer and critic. And this critic is not an outsider. This is the inner critic, which comes in, which jumps in and takes the front seat whenever the child decides, let me do something to get closer to my dream. So, but in today's second half of the session, I will make you people practice a therapy which is known as Walt Disney technique, a very, very famous technique. And through that, you know, and the doer is also, this doer word can also be replaced by, you know, this basically the person who's doing that, responder. So from that, it comes DCR technique, or in very simple language, we call it as Walt Disney technique, which we'll be learning how to practice that. Once you are trained in that, you can make